Hello, my name is Nancy Douglas, and I am here with Grace Hirte. She is a candidate for the mayor for the city of Delavan. How are you, Grace?
Good morning. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh. Yes, absolutely. We are excited that you're here. We're going to ask the same 3 questions to you and all the other candidates that we are going to have in. So let's just start with the very first question. And that is, what are the top 3 issues that you feel need immediate attention in the city of Delavan?
Okay. Well, when I look at Delavan, I think probably the biggest issue is housing right now.
Yeah.
In 2022, my daughter and her husband were expecting their first baby. They wanted to move back to Delavan, and I was thrilled. And so they started looking, and there was nothing.
Oh.
And we're at this open house. There's like 15 of us in this little house. No bathroom on the main floor.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody wanted it, but actually it was not going to work.
Right.
But it sold way over its asking price.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually they finally found something in Walworth, so that's great.
So they're close.
They're close, but I could have had that little granddaughter living right down the street. And so I think we just have had a serious shortage, and we need homes for people that are going to work in our schools, our nursing homes, businesses. Hospitality is big in Delavan. And we need a place for them to live so that they can work here.
Absolutely.
So we have had several houses built and these 2 large apartment complexes in this last year and a half. And it's eased the crunch a little bit, but they're so expensive.
Mm-hmm.
The new houses are all $400,000 and up.
Ooh.
And teachers, nurses, factory workers, they can't afford that.
Right.
So housing just continues to be a big problem. With CETA, you're familiar with Walworth County Economic Development Alliance.
Yes.
They had a very good article in the February 5 edition of the Enterprise. And they talked about a study they had completed to increase affordable housing in Delavan. So they pointed to all the unfinished subdivisions, the infill parcels, downtown redevelopment opportunities, and larger planned neighborhoods that are already in the comprehensive plan.
Right.
So, building, getting apartments above those stores.
Yeah.
And those occasional sections in town where like a house came down or just never was developed.
Sure.
Pick out those places and put something in there. So I think it's just with a lot of initiatives, workforce housing and affordable housing are needed, and they take intentionality.
Sure.
You have to be willing to just look into it, dive into it, look at the possibilities, and look for the developers, the builders, the people that can make that happen.
Right.
And so I think that we can look to WCETA to be leading the charge on that, and they'd be a good steering mechanism.
Sure. So housing's number 1.
Housing's number 1, and number 2, I'd say, is affordability.
Yeah.
The people that bought their house in the 80s, the 90s, they're living there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now we've just had a house reassessment. And so, on the one hand, good news. And on average, we've had a 62% increase in home values.
Awesome.
Since 2018 because of the markets right now. But also, we've been, this year, taxed for the increased value.
Sure.
So if you've bought it way back then and now you're maybe retired or you're a starting out family, all of a sudden your taxes went up $700, $1,000, $2,000 a year.
Right.
That's a lot.
That's a lot, and that's on your monthly house payment.
Right.
So it doesn't, when people divide that out throughout the year, they say, oh, well, it's only this much a month. No, that's this much a month plus what I was already paying.
Uh-huh.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So you think about gentrification in like big cities like Milwaukee or Washington, D.C. It can't happen here in Delavan. I mean, you can't afford to stay in your house.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And on top of everything else that goes up and down.
Right.
Right.
And well, we've also just had a water rate increase. I get it. A lot of towns are seeing that increase, but we had not had an increase, a sizable increase since 2015, for 15 years.
Right.
They had not requested from the SPC, a rate increase. And so kind of kicking it down the road has stung the people of Delavan. And so that's added to that affordability problem.
Got it. So then the third thing.
The third thing, so a large number of students choice out of the public schools in Delavan.
Okay.
And so this is a problem for us because that funding goes out to the other districts, and we need to keep it at home.
The money follows the student.
And so I actually substitute teach in K through 8. I don't sub in the high school because for a while they were filling their own subs.
Sure.
And so I see a lot of good stuff going on there. I love the dual language classes.
For sure.
And I'm just kind of surprised that so many people are choicing out of it. I think we've got quality things going on. And I think parents have to remember that no school is perfect.
Right.
And you're going to have ups and downs. And so I think it's just got kind of a bad image right now.
Do you think it's because of rumors, or why would they think that?
Yeah, I think that occasionally if somebody is bullied, it happens.
Right.
And eyes aren't everywhere, but I think, we have to have that communication with staff.
Yeah.
I do think that we've got some great principals in place now, and they've added to that for us. But at the high school level, I just went to Hall Pass for Success. They have amazing things going on in Delavan. So Delavan has a DD Tech program that is a separate line of classes, and they have a lot of alliances with businesses for workforce development, and kids are having great success in that. They're learning to cook, to build. They've been rebuilding this house on Highway 11.
Oh my gosh.
Relocating the staircase, Nancy.
Wow.
It's not just like replacing the windows.
Right.
This is huge.
Right.
And teams
and structural.
Of these kids,
yeah.
I know.
Wow.
I'm awed by it. But they have that going on. They have robotics. They have all of these classes that you can take for college credit. I'm amazed by it.
Right.
And so I think that it is just getting bad press, and I think we have to switch that around. I think we need to be bragging about the great job that they're doing.
For sure.
And bring those kids back to Delavan.
Yeah.
And maybe even have a few other kids choice in.
Right. Turn the tables.
Because I think it's a problem for our district. We need to keep those funds in Delavan, and so we want some change to happen there.
For sure. We're talking with Grace Hirte. She is a candidate for the City of Delavan mayor. And so then our next question was, when local residents reach out to you, because there's always a difference, right? Because you see things from a different perspective, because you do have the ability to look from the inside, because you're involved in the city in many different ways. But when the local residents reach out to you, what are the top 3 things that they are concerned about? Now, I'm sure a couple of them match, one or two, but what are they concerned about?
So interestingly, candidates go to doors, they go to events, they meet with people. So I have been talking with a lot of people. And I have to say that the hot topic right now is that 60% water rate increase.
Wow. Okay.
It just happened. It was the January bill that they got in February. Now is when I'm meeting people, and it's the first thing they talk about.
Right.
So I was paying, it's only the water, it's not the sewer, it's not Walcomet, it's just the water.
Okay.
But people are saying, I was paying $50 a month for water, and now it's $200. And again, that every month. And this is a charge that's there to stay.
And had they been raising it incrementally over the years, that's not such a
it wouldn't have
blow
been
to
such
your
a shock.
checkbook. Yeah.
And actually they would have had it and to be keeping their infrastructure going all that time.
Wow. Okay. All right. That makes sense. A 60% increase in their water bill. I can see why that's top of mind.
And then the year before that, the taxes went up. And so they feel like there's no end in sight to what they have to pay. And they point out all the new construction and how much that's costing. And I think some people think we're spending too much money on nice things. And Delavan has slipped into a spending pattern that assumes increased costs can always be covered by the taxpayers. It doesn't matter.
Right.
And one gentleman told me last week he did complain about it, and the person pointed out to him that, well, you could sell your house for a lot of money. And that's not what they want to do.
Oh, no.
They want to stay here.
Yeah.
But affordability is really top in their mind right now.
I'm sure.
So second issue that people often ask me about, even before the campaigning started, was, what do you think about all this building going on? They're really troubled with all the new houses, the two big apartment buildings being built in Delavan, the houses at Lake Lawn, the big Shodine development. A lot of them hate the loss of farmland around the city, and other people just don't want to deal with all the stoplights, the traffic, just the busyness of it. And so they're concerned. What about all that building going on?
Right.
And I think, like with Lake Lawn, I think they also care about the Delavan Lake.
Sure.
They care, what effect is this having, all those new homes on Delavan Lake?
Absolutely.
So I do think that some of the building was needed.
Well, you go back to your first thing, which was the affordable housing, right? Like, you're right. You have to grow. So
you have to grow. And I totally get it. I remember, when Kmart came to town, it's like, we have a Kmart, the stores will never be the same.
Right.
But
it was fine.
It's just, you have to be in that mentality. Things will change. And some of it is for good. And
balanced growth is imperative. Right.
We needed it.
Right.
And for some people, they want Chick-fil-A there, but then you have to really grow. They kind of love having stores there, but you have to have the people to support it.
Right.
But people are concerned about it. And especially the farmland, I'm with them totally on that. But I think we do have a comprehensive plan that does guide all of the building in one direction, and it does protect the city borders so that farmland is going to be preserved.
That's good.
Something that's just kind of come up lately, connected to that, though, is this extraterritorial zoning.
I just recently heard about this. I read it from my friend, Bridget. And actually, it's interesting because I am going to put a call into her and ask her to come on my Sunday morning show and help explain this to people as to, the advantages and disadvantages to that,
right?
All of that happening. And so, but yeah, that's a very recent concern.
So yeah, there's clearly this plan, but this has come up, and seriously, it wasn't Delavan people, it was the people in that zone brought me a letter, people from church, like, we got this letter in the mail, what does this mean? I'm like, whoa, it sounds kind of aggressive. But, let me see what this does entail, because I'm not sure what the intent is here. It kind of seems like a land grab to me, but I want to see what it is.
Sure.
But that's just been popping up like in the last week or so.
Right.
People wondering.
More research to be done on that for sure. Yeah.
That deal.
Yeah. So then the third thing they're concerned about, what is that?
So, there's a combination of things. I would say that some people have mentioned safety, and we had 6 shots fired into the air and a car sped off about maybe 3 weeks ago. That's jarring.
Yeah.
That's scary for people. So I'm concerned about the fire department. We still have a volunteer force. Is that good for the long term? And I think kind of all of this is tied into communication and transparency. A lot of these things that are happening, how did this start to happen? What's going on?
Right.
More than like, why isn't the fire department doing the 4th of July breakfast?
Right.
But also, how did this happen that suddenly we have to pay this much? And what is this extraterritorial zone? And what's with the fire department? There's kind of been some change over there. And there's not really any communication going out. And I think that's what makes people wonder, what's going on?
Well, knowledge is power.
It is.
Right.
And when you're expecting it, you can prepare for it. And if you don't know and it just all of a sudden shows up, whoa, you just got hit. Yeah.
I can see where it certainly creates more questions. Right. And less confidence in what's going on, because if you are, if you can plan for it and you're aware that it's happening and you're able to ask questions as to why and how and when and all of those things, okay, well then in your head, you can get it together and plan your life or your property or your intentions, personally, you can plan for that. But yes, when you don't know about something and it sort of blindsides you, ooh, it's you get spun around in a circle.
Knowing the reason why. Sometimes you don't know, and then you go, oh,
well, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess I'm okay with that.
Right.
But communicate.
Yeah.
And don't try to just do things on the sly.
Right.
Just get it out there.
Right.
People want to know.
Right. So then our last question was, and this is all about you. What do you believe is the strongest asset that you bring to the table? We've got a couple minutes left. Just when people ask you, what are you going to do for us? What do you tell them?
So I think a lot of people just might not know who I am.
Huh.
I'm not front and center in the photographs, but actually I've been pouring into the community for decades. And my strongest asset is the broad experience that I have, the interaction that I've had with so many segments of Delavan life.
Right.
So I've worked at the Deaf School, Wisconsin School for the Deaf, Delavan Christian School, the Delavan Darien Public Schools. And so I've learned all these teaching models. I've worked with large populations of students from hearing, from deaf, from Hispanic communities. Hablo poquito español y entiendo algunos. And I know sign language. So I think just those experiences and interactions with different segments of our population.
Sure.
It's grown me and gives me insight into their life situations. And just even with the city of Delavan, working with them, I've been an election inspector for 20 years. I was on Public Works for 5 years. And I've done a lot of behind-the-scenes work, going back to heritage days, setting up, our Dutch booth and selling croquettes and oliebollen with Saskia. Just always being a part of that. And in these last few years, just being so involved with wine walks and Scarecrow Fest, the train shows.
The events.
For multiple years, doing the work, setting up the raffles, the duck raffle, getting the prizes, just really integrated into all of the things that have to get done. Project managing. Like the Delavan Darien Rotary Artisan Festival, we brought that back this year. It was huge to bring that back, writing the grant, which was so helpful, securing the vendors, securing entertainment, advertising, hosting all the guests. It was challenging, but it was fantastic to pour into the community and all those people. But the experience of being a school principal.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I feel like that is really what is similar to being a mayor.
Sure.
Yeah, a lot of responsibility, a lot of levels of people to communicate with. And I think that experience, I feel, is actually way harder.
Yeah, I'm guessing for sure. Yeah,
and makes me suitable to be able to do this. So you have a principal, you have the parents, you have the school board, you have the teachers, the students, the alumni. You have all the paperwork and the accreditation, everything that you have to really have in order,
right,
to keep the school thriving.
Right.
So then you look at a mayor. They have the constituents, they have the council, they have city staff, department heads, business, industry. They have paperwork, they have accreditation of sorts. And this combination of entities that make this just kind of challenging. And so I think people might say, oh, she doesn't have any experience in running a city or being a mayor. But actually, I've got a lot of experience.
I would say a school is a tiny little city.
It is.
I mean,
a tiny
it's just
little city.
Right. It's just got tiny little residents. No, I'm just kidding. They're not tiny, but yeah. And if I might add something, you've had some business.
I do have some
experience
business
as well, because I know, and I think this is when I first met you, was with the Lakeland Builders Association.
Right.
And I may have met you. I probably met you before that, but and so you've run actual businesses as well.
Executive officer and setting up the home show and the parade of homes. They're kind of complex, and just communicating with the builders and all the members of that. I did also help start up the Delavan Ben Franklin in 2010.
Aw.
Yeah.
Aw.
I know. It was so hard. It was so fun.
Yeah.
But just going to Minnesota, going to all the Ben Franklins there, out on these dirt roads, driving, it was wild. But we checked them all out. We got that whole business up and running, and that was such a great experience.
Yeah.
But then when the yarn was selling, we were paying the same price wholesale that Walmart was paying retail, or selling retail. It wasn't doable.
Yeah, that's not conducive to a successful business environment, that's for sure.
So,
yeah.
Business experience. So I think I have such a variety of experiences. I think that it makes me really well suited.
Absolutely.
I have the ability to communicate, and I really like people. I like to engage with them. I like to help them out. I belong to so many organizations because I actually enjoy being on the board for Congdon Gardens.
Right.
I like the Rotary, Safe Families for Children. It has my heart. New Day Women's Clinic. I'm on the board for that. All things that just really, I want to pour myself into people and invest in them because it just brings, good things to our community and joy.
Awesome. Grace, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Good luck with the campaign.
Thanks.
And we will, if elected, will you commit to coming back and giving us an update once in a while on the state of the city of Delavan?
I would most certainly do that.
Awesome. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.